Hello, my name is Dick Fleming. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you enjoy the stories that I've told about my experiences as a recon Marine with 1st Force Recon and Recon Battalion during the Vietnam War. If you like the stories, you might find my book interesting, Chasing Charlie. Chasing Charlie is available on Amazon, or if you go to my website, firstforcerecon.com, you'll find that you can order it there. And also you can get additional information and other resources that I put on the website, and some pictures of myself and other members of my team, as well as some pictures of photographs that other people have sent me. So firstforcerecon.com is a good resource for you, as well as this channel, which I hope you'll subscribe to. So, when we used to come back from patrol, we used to always have at least 2 or 3 days off where we could get our gear straightened out, get cleaned up, and get ready for our next mission. So we'd usually have maybe 3, 4, 5 days off between patrols. And one of the first places we used to go to was Freedom Hill. Freedom Hill was only about maybe 15 minute by truck from our base at Camp Reasoner in Da Nang. And if you followed the road back down toward the city, you came to quite a large area that the Marine Corps had set up as a kind of recreational area. But it also was the place that we got paid. We could get our high and tight haircuts there at Freedom Hill. They had a movie theater there, and most of all, you could get some good food. They had pizza and they had chicken. You could really order whatever they had on the menu there, which is not the case normally in our chow hall. We got whatever they gave us, and sometimes that wasn't very good. Sometimes it wasn't. It wasn't bad, actually. I can't complain. I don't recall. I was never a gourmet, so but whatever I could get, I took and was grateful for it. It was certainly better than the sea rations the cold sea rations that we had in the field, because we never had any fire. Well, I went down to Freedom Hill, to get my my camouflage utilities cleaned and pressed. I didn't have the jungle utilities I wore. I didn't touch those because they smelled of the jungle. They were all muddy, and they were all pretty good for camouflage. But beyond to be inspected, you wanted to have nice, clean, starched and pressed utilities, so you didn't get assigned to a work party for being a disgrace to the unit. So we used to go down there and on our days off and get straightened out. Well, Bo and I one day went down to Freedom Hill, and he met up with a guy that he had known in dive school. And that Marine had been assigned to a bridge, a force that protected the bridge. Well, actually, it was only a few men that were around there to be a dive team to protect the bridge and to make sure that the VC weren't mining the supports of the bridge, or that they weren't putting explosives on logs and drifting them down toward the bridge and having them blown up. So he was in that unit, and he invited us down. He said, "Come on down. I'll give you some beer, and you can see what real living is all about." So that sounded good to us. So we hopped in a 4x4 that was heading down toward Da Nang City, toward the Da Nang Bridge. And it was only, as I recall, it was only myself and Bo in the truck at the time. We may have picked up some Marines, and they'd be dropped off on the way in or out, but as I recall, it was only myself and Bo, and we were standing up in the back of the truck as we went in. heading toward the bridge. Well, we got into, of all things, a traffic jam there as we neared the bridge. There was a column of Korean soldiers on a huge column that was passing across the bridge. Now the Koreans had a fierce reputation, according to the Stars and Stripes, our rag of a newspaper that we read. You know, they were supposed to be feared by the North Vietnamese for their aggressive actions, and you know, they were supposed to be the brutal fighters. Well, I don't know about that, and I don't think any of us thought too highly of them, because what they would do is the only thing we saw them do is on these huge columns that they had, maybe a quarter of a mile long, maybe a half a mile long, all these trucks and lorries and jeeps and everything that they had. They would go across the country, traversing the highways, and God forbid anything that was left unprotected, they would scarf it up. They were said to be able to take a jeep, put it in the back of one of their trucks, wheel it in there, and have it completely repainted and added to the back of their column within a few minutes. I don't know. That was their reputation as far as we were concerned. But in any case, it's kind of like the Sandman in Star Wars. Well, that column was stalled on the bridge, and what had happened was that there was a Vietnamese farmer with his cart filled with melons and pulled by an a water buffalo, and his wheel had gotten stuck on stuck off the cart, and the buffalo was trying to pull the cart with the wheels, and the melons were going all over the place, and so the Koreans jumped off the back of their truck, and I thought they were going to help the guy, and instead they took all the melons and they were throwing them up to their friends, you know, in the trucks, and just the poor farmer was standing there looking at him and trying to stop them. No, and he's trying to put the melons back in his cart, and meanwhile the other soldiers were tossing them to each other, and you know, before too long the cart was empty, and that poor guy was just, you know, his cart stuck on the bridge, and with that the soldiers unhitched the cart from the water buffalo. Again, I thought they were trying to help him or something, but no, they took the car and they pushed it off the bridge into the water, and they had a great laugh about that. Well, behind us was another 4x4 with a Special Forces soldier on it. A sergeant, big hefty guy, sergeant, and he's yelling out, blasting his horn, "Move it, move it, move it!" Bah, 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 with a horn. Jesus, you know, there's no place anybody could go. You know, there was people crowded on the bridge there. There was a group of students with their teacher, you know, all in white shirts and black pants, and they were stuck on the bridge. They were trying to get to the other side. Move it! This guy's blaring his horn, and he had a dog sitting next to him on the seat. It was a little mongrel-y thing, and he got out of the truck and he called his dog over, and he pointed to the people on the bridge, and he goes, "Sick 'em." Well, the dog took off like a shot, and the teacher tried to get between the dog and his students, and the dog grabbed his leg, the pants of his leg, and shook it and bit him and bit him and bit him, and finally the soldier, the Special Forces guy, called him back, and the poor teacher, you know, turned his students around, and he's sort of bowing like this, and boy, you should have seen the hatred on the faces of his students. They were all like high school boys, just pure hatred. And at that moment, I swear I knew the war was lost. I just had that sinking feeling that if that was the way that we were treating the people who had the country, the actual owners of the country, there was no way we were gonna prevail in this war. It really sunk my heart. The special forces guy came past us as he walked back with his damn dog, and he sort of looked at me and he's really nasty. I'll show them, right? That showed them. He was expecting me to agree with him. I felt like shooting the goddamn dog. Him too, for that matter. Of course, I didn't. The Koreans got off the bridge. The convoy got off, and we continued on our way down to the bridge. So we got off the truck, and we were told that Bo's friend would be there to meet us, and he was. And we went down a little side path on the side of the bridge, and it was a nice little. Wasn't a hooch that we would be in. It looked like something from the South Pacific that somebody had constructed for them. Had that bamboo look on it, like a tiki lodge or something. And we went in, and he had a refrigerator there. It was filled with beer that he gave us. He had a grill outside. He had an umbrella sitting there. I couldn't believe it. There was two noms really. There was the nom that we were in, and the grunts were in. The jungle, the insects, the mountains, the mud. And then there were the guys in the back rear. They were living a high life, and this guy was certainly one of them. They gave us a couple beers, and he goes, "You want to go out on the river?" I, "Sure, go out on the river." So he let us out the back, and his hooch had a little wharf attached to it, and then by the wharf was a brand new Boston whaler with 2 Mercury engines on it. And he threw some gear into the back of that and fired it up, and we took off down the river. Oh, this was living, man. We had the beers, a couple of beers in us, and he had an entire case that he threw into the back, and he went into a beautiful little lagoon on the side of the river there, and he said, "You want to go for a swim? Because we're going to go fishing, we got to get some fish for dinner." Well, sure, we'll go fishing. Well, he had a spear gun there, a couple of spear guns, and face masks and fins. I guess his job was to patrol around the bridge. And so he dived off. We weren't using no tanks or anything. Well, I thought this was great. I got myself a pair of fins and a mask and dove off after him. And the water was crystal clear. It was really, really nice. And we could see fishermen fishing on the side with their nets in the lagoon. But we didn't see any large fish or fish large enough to shoot at. And after about 15 minutes or so, he goes, "We got to get some fish, guys. Let's go fishing." And I thought we were fishing, or maybe he had some tackle or something. So we clambered on back into the Boston whaler, and he went down into a little cubby that it had, and came out with some grenades. And he goes, "Oh, this is let's get some dinner." And with that, he threw the grenades overboard. They sank for a few seconds, and then, bam! A big column of water, shot to the surface. And all these fish, stunned by the explosion, floated to the surface. Some of them quite large. So he had a net, and he was he was scooping the largest ones out, and all of the Vietnamese fishermen, they were paddling over to us, with their nets and scooping up however many fish we had. They were telling him more, 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 more. He threw a couple more grenades out there, and then he decided that was enough for them. And we fired up the engine again, and we went back to his hooch, and he started up the grill and put a nice big steak on the grill. No, steak. It was fish steak on the grill. And we had some more beer, and just had a great day. Never went back. Never had the opportunity to went back because we were transferred far away from the good life in Da Nang Bridge, and that was about it. The bridge was also patrolled by ARVN troops who walked up and down the bridge, and they fired at anything moving, anything floating in the water. Sometimes the VC would attach explosives to logs or brush that looked like it was just floating down, but it was packed with explosives. And they would shoot at that and make sure that anything had been exploded. And they would shoot at anything that was floating in the water. So we actually didn't spend too much time around there. We had enough of that type of action. So we went back to our base. Had a really nice day, but in my heart, after seeing that Special Forces sergeant treat the kids, the teacher, just gave me a really bad feeling about things. We didn't. The Force Recon guys, they were hard. They were hard men. They were, but most of them, they weren't nasty that way. And it just didn't sit right with me. But you're going to have all kinds of people in wars, and although we certainly weren't choir boys, the Marine. I know many choir boys in the Marine Corps, but we in the main we weren't. They weren't nasty in that way. But that was Nam. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you do, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.